A small shuttle moved slowly toward the giant space station. Captain Daeho Kim sat in the pilot's seat, looking at the huge structure in front of them. The station was beautiful. It looked like a flower made of metal and light spinning gently in the dark space. This was Nexus Prime, the home of the Galactic Council. "Look at the size of that thing," said Commander Sora Park from the seat next to him. She was looking at her screen, reading the station's details. "It's bigger than our largest city," Daeho nodded. He had seen many strange things in his years traveling through space, but this station was special. The aliens who built it did not think like humans. Where human ships were built strong and simple, this station was all curves and flowing lines. It looked more like art than a building. "They want to see us right away," Sora said, reading a new message. "No delays, no time to rest, straight to the council chamber." "That does not sound good," Daeho replied. He had been a captain for 15 years. He knew when people were worried about something. The message they received 3 days ago was polite, but it felt like an order. The Galactic Council wanted to meet with them. Now, their shuttle was tiny compared to the other ships near the station. Daeho could see vessels from many different worlds. Some ships looked like they were grown instead of built. Others seemed to be made of light and energy. One ship looked like a giant bubble floating in space. "Docking Bay 7, Sora read. From her screen, "They are sending a guide to meet us." The docking bay was huge and empty. Their shuttle looked like a toy sitting on the smooth floor. The air felt different when they stepped out. It was clean, maybe too clean. It smelled like flowers and rain, but something was missing. Daeho realized what it was. There were no normal smells. No oil, no metal, no people. Just the artificial flower smell. A figure came toward them across the bay. At first, Daeho thought it was a robot. Then he saw it was alive, but unlike any living thing he had ever seen. The being was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. Light moved through its body in slow waves. When it walked, it made a soft ringing sound, like wind chimes. "Greetings," the crystal being said. Its voice sounded like music. "I am Guide Velton of the Veltari people. The council is waiting for you." Sora and Daeho looked at each other. They had studied the alien races before coming here, but seeing them in person was different. The Veltari were peaceful crystal beings who lived for thousands of years. They moved slowly and thought even more slowly. "Thank you for meeting us," Daeho said. He tried to speak slowly and clearly. "We are ready to see the council." Velton's crystal body flickered with different colors. Daeho hoped that meant the being was happy, but he was not sure. Reading alien emotions was still new to him. They walked through the station's halls. Everything was built for beings who moved differently than humans. The ceilings were very high. The floors were smooth and curved. There were no sharp corners anywhere. The walls showed pictures of space and peaceful worlds as they walked. Daeho noticed other aliens stopping to look at them. A group of floating gas creatures moved quickly away when they approached. Some plant-like beings with many arms pointed at them and whispered in a language that sounded like wind through leaves. "Are we famous here?" Sora asked quietly. "I think we might be," Daeho replied. He was starting to feel uncomfortable. The aliens were not just curious. They looked scared. Velton led them to a large door covered in strange symbols. "The council chamber," the crystal being said. "Please wait here. The council must prepare for your arrival." The door closed, leaving them alone in a small waiting room. The room had no chairs. Instead, there were floating platforms and soft areas that seemed designed for beings who did not need to sit like humans. "This is strange," Sora said. She was looking around the room. "Why do they need to prepare?" "We are just two people." "Maybe they do not meet with humans very often," Daeho suggested, but he was thinking the same thing. This felt like more than just a normal meeting. Through the walls, they could hear voices. The sounds were not human voices. Some sounded like singing, others were like the wind or like water moving. One voice sounded like rocks grinding together. The voices seemed excited, maybe worried. I count at least 8 different languages, Sora said. She was good with languages and had studied many alien ways of speaking. They are all talking at the same time. That usually means they are arguing about something. About us? Deho asked. I think so. I keep hearing sounds that might be our names. The door opened again, but it was not Velton who came out. This time it was a completely different kind of alien. The new being looked like it was made of moving air. Deho could see through it, but it had a shape like a person. When it moved, colors swirled inside its body. I am Ambassador Fleeth of the Nephim, the gas being said. Its voice was like music, but sad music. The council is ready to see you now. Please follow the rules of the chamber. Move slowly. Speak quietly. Do not make sudden movements. Sora raised an eyebrow. Do not make sudden movements? Are we dangerous? That is what the council wants to discuss, Fleeth said. The colors in its body changed to darker shades. Deho and Sora followed. The gas being through the door. The council chamber was enormous. The ceiling was so high they could not see the top. Around the room, on different levels and platforms, sat the members of the Galactic Council. Deho had studied pictures of the council members, but seeing them in person was overwhelming. There was Zokwar, the lead council member, who looked like a mountain made of living crystal. Near the ceiling floated 3 Nephim, their gas bodies glowing with soft light. On one side of the room, huge plant beings swayed gently, their many arms moving like they were underwater. In the center of the room were 2 simple chairs. Human chairs. They looked very small and plain compared to everything else in the chamber. Please sit, said a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Deho realized it was Zokwar speaking. The crystal being's voice was so deep it made the floor vibrate. As they walked to their chairs, Deho noticed something strange. Every alien in the room was watching them very carefully. Some had moved back from where the humans would sit. Others had placed what looked like protective barriers around themselves. They sat down. The chairs were actually comfortable, which surprised Deho. Someone had thought about what humans would need. Captain Deho Kim of the vessel Terra's voice, Zokwar said. Commander Sora Park of the Korean Space Defense Force, you have been called here because the council has received concerning reports about your people. Sora leaned forward slightly. What kind of reports? The movement was small, but it caused several aliens to move back even further. A butterfly-like being near the wall made a high sound that might have been fear. That, said Zokwar, is exactly what we need to discuss. The silence in the council chamber felt heavy. Deho could hear his own breathing, which seemed very loud in the quiet room. He noticed that none of the aliens were breathing the same way humans did. Some of them did not seem to breathe at all. Zokwar's crystal body flashed with different colors before he spoke again. The reports we have received about your species are troubling. We must discuss these issues before your people can travel freely in civilized space. What kind of issues? Sora asked. She kept her voice calm, but Deho could tell she was getting annoyed. A new voice joined the conversation. It came from above them, where the butterfly-like being was floating. I am Counselor Yithran of the Kethwi people. The reports say that your species breathes poison. Deho blinked in confusion. Poison? Oxygen, Yithran continued. The butterfly being's wings were shaking. Your people breathe oxygen and release carbon dioxide. These gases are deadly to many species in the galaxy. Sora looked at Deho, then back at the council. Oxygen is not poison to us. We need it to live, and carbon dioxide is just what we breathe out. It is natural for a Deathworld species, said another voice. This one came from a plant-like being whose many arms were waving slowly. I am Counselor Tysel of the Sylvani. Our reports say that your world is covered in a poisonous atmosphere that would kill most life forms in the galaxy. Earth's atmosphere is poisonous to you? Deho asked. Extremely poisonous, Tysel replied. The amount of oxygen in your air would burn our bodies. The pressure would crush many of us. and the radiation from your star is far too strong for most life. Deho was starting to understand the problem. What was normal for humans was deadly for most other species. We can explain about our world and our biology, he said. There is more, Zoquar said. His deep voice made the floor vibrate again. The reports say that your people consume dead organic matter. You mean food? Sora asked. The question caused several aliens to make sounds of distress. The gas beings above them changed to darker colors. The plant beings moved their arms faster. You kill living things and eat their bodies, Yithrun said. The butterfly being sounded horrified. The reports say you cut up plants and burn them. With fire, you also eat the flesh of animals. We cook our food, Sora explained. Cooking kills germs and makes food safe to eat. And yes, humans eat both plants and animals. That is how we get energy to live. Cooking, repeated Tysel slowly. You use fire to destroy living tissue. We use heat to prepare food, Deho corrected. It is not destruction, it is preparation. The reports also mention that your people consume heated water, said another voice. This came from a being that looked like it was made of liquid metal. You boil water until it becomes steam then. You drink it. Sora almost laughed. We made tea and coffee. We heat water to make hot drinks. It tastes good. You force water to change its state through extreme heat, the metal being continued. This is molecular violence. Deho was beginning to realize how different their species really were. Things that seemed completely normal to humans were seen as violent and frightening by these peaceful aliens. There are more concerns, Zoquar sighed. Your ships carry dangerous equipment. The reports mention molecular disruptors, chemical weapons, and torture devices. What? Sora said, her voice getting louder. Several aliens moved back when she spoke. Please explain these molecular disruptors, Yithrun requested. Deho thought for a moment. Can you be more specific? What do these reports say we have? Sharp. Metal objects designed to cut through molecular bonds, Zoquar read from what looked like a crystal tablet. Used for dismembering organic matter. Knives, Sora said flatly. You're talking about kitchen knives. We use them to cut food. You cut food? Tysel asked. Yes, we cut vegetables and meat into smaller pieces before we cook them, Deho explained. It makes them easier to eat. The plant being's arms stopped moving completely. You dismember plants before burning them? We chop vegetables, yes. Sora said she was trying very hard to stay patient. And the chemical weapons? Zoquar asked. Deho looked confused. I do not know what you mean. Substances designed to break down organic matter at the molecular level, Yithrun read from his own tablet. Stored in containers marked with warning symbols. Cleaning supplies, Sora realized. You are talking about soap and cleaning chemicals. We use them to clean our ships and keep them healthy. You use chemicals to destroy organic contamination, the metal being said. We use soap to clean dirt and germs, Deho corrected. It keeps us healthy, and the torture devices? Zoquar continued. This time, both humans looked completely lost. Torture devices? Sora repeated. Mechanical systems designed to stress biological forms, Yithrun explained. Metal structures that force bodies into unnatural positions and cause physical strain. Sora suddenly understood. Exercise equipment. You're talking about our gym. Equipment. Gym equipment? Several voices asked at the same time. Machines we use to make our bodies stronger, Deho explained. We use them to stay healthy and fit. You deliberately cause stress to your own bodies? Tysel asked. Exercise makes us stronger, Sora said. It keeps our muscles and bones healthy. Your species deliberately damages itself to become more. Dangerous? Zoquar asked. Exercise does not damage us, Deho said quickly. It makes us healthier. The council chamber fell silent again. Deho could see the aliens looking at each other. He could not read their expressions, but he could tell they were communicating somehow. There is one more issue, Zoquar finally said. The reports say that your people show alarming resistance to radiation, extreme temperatures, and physical damage. Resistance? Sora asked. Your bodies can survive in conditions that would kill most life forms in the galaxy, Yethron explained. You can function in temperatures that would freeze or burn other species. You can survive radiation levels that would be fatal to civilized life. And your bodies can heal from physical damage that would permanently disable other beings. Deho looked at Sora. They were both starting to understand the real problem. Humans were not just different from other species. They were so different that they seemed dangerous. These are natural abilities for our species, Deho said carefully. We evolved on a world with harsh conditions. Our bodies adapted to survive. Deathworld, Zilquar said. Your species comes from a world so hostile that survival itself required you to become living weapons. We are not weapons, Sora said firmly. We are explorers. We came here to learn about other species and to share knowledge. But you could be weapons, Yethron said quietly. If you chose to be? The question hung in the air like a threat. Deho realized that this meeting was not about welcoming humans to the galactic community. It was about deciding whether humans were too dangerous to be allowed in civilized space. The tension in the council chamber was getting worse. Deho could see that the aliens were afraid, but he did not understand why basic human activities seemed so frightening to them. He decided to try a different approach. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding, Deho said, speaking slowly and clearly. Maybe if we show you what we actually do, you will see that we are not dangerous. Zilquar's crystal body flickered with new colors. You wish to demonstrate your activities? Yes, Sora said. If you are worried about our food preparation, we can show you how we actually cook. It is not violent or dangerous. Several aliens made worried sounds. Yethron's butterfly wings started shaking faster. You wish to perform food preparation here, in the council chamber? Not here, Deho said quickly. Maybe in a safe place where you can watch and see that it is harmless. The council members looked at each other. Deho could see lights flashing between the crystal beings. The gas creatures above them swirled in patterns that might have been their way of talking. The plant beings moved their arms in what looked like sign language. Very well, Zilquar said after a long pause. We will arrange a demonstration area, but there will be safety measures. An hour later, Deho and Sora found themselves in a large room with thick walls made of some kind of clear material. The council members watched from behind barriers that looked strong enough to stop explosions. Some aliens had moved to different rooms and were watching through screens. This feels like we are in a zoo, Sora whispered to Deho. Or like we are dangerous animals, Deho replied quietly. A small table had been brought into the room, along with some basic cooking equipment and ingredients. The items had come from their ship, but Deho noticed that everything had been carefully examined first. There were small sensors attached to every piece of equipment. We will demonstrate how humans prepare a simple meal, Deho announced. He picked up a knife and immediately heard several aliens make alarm sounds. The molecular disruptor, Yethron said nervously. It is just a knife, Sora said. She took a small vegetable from the table. Watch, we use the knife to cut the vegetable into smaller pieces. She began cutting the vegetable slowly and carefully. Each time the knife went through the plant matter, the aliens watching made sounds of distress. The plant beings seemed especially upset. You are dismembering a living thing, Tysil said. The plant being's arms were moving frantically. The vegetable is not alive anymore, Sora explained. It was harvested from a plant, but the vegetable itself is not living. You separated it from its life source, and now you are destroying its molecular structure. Tysil replied. Deho realized that the plant beings probably saw vegetables very differently than humans did. To them, cutting up a carrot might seem like cutting up a part of a person. Let me show you the next step, Deho said. He turned on a small heating device and placed a pot of water on it. The reaction was immediate. Alarms started going off. Several aliens left their viewing areas. Completely. The ones who stayed moved even further back. Fire, Yithran said in a shaking voice. You have created fire. It is just heat, Deho said, but he could see that the explanation was not helping. We heat water to cook food. You are forcing a molecular state change through thermal violence. The liquid metal being said, as the water began to warm up, more alarms sounded. When the first bubbles appeared, 3 more aliens left the viewing area. It is becoming steam, Sora said, trying to sound calm. This is normal. Normal for a Deathworld species, Zokwar said. His deep voice sounded strained. When the water started boiling, the butterfly being Yithran made a high sound and fainted. 2 other aliens rushed to help him. We should stop, Sora said quietly, but Deho was determined to finish the demonstration. He put the cut vegetables into the boiling water. The sound they made when they hit the hot water caused more aliens to flee. You are using thermal torture on plant matter, Tysil said. The plant being sounded like he was in pain. We are cooking vegetables, Deho said firmly. This makes them soft and easy to eat. It also kills any harmful germs. Germs? Several voices asked at once. Small living things that can make us sick, Sora explained. Cooking kills them so the food is safe. You deliberately destroy microscopic life forms, the liquid metal being said. To stay healthy, yes, Deho replied. The demonstration was becoming a disaster. What was supposed to show that humans were peaceful was instead convincing the aliens that humans were even more dangerous than they thought. Just as the vegetables finished cooking, the door to the demonstration room opened. A new human walked in, carrying a bag of equipment. Sorry I am late, the newcomer said. The docking procedures took longer than expected. It was engineer Taewon Choi from their ship. He had come to deliver some supplies that the council had requested. Taewon, Sora said quickly, maybe you should wait outside? But Taewon was already looking around the room in confusion. Why is everyone hiding behind barriers? And why are there so many sensors? We are demonstrating human food preparation. Deho explained. Oh, cooking, Taewon said with a smile. That smells good. Did you bring any of the spices from the ship? Spices? Zokwar asked from behind his barrier. Chemical compounds used to alter the taste of food, Taewon explained cheerfully. We have some great ones from Earth, chili peppers, garlic, ginger. Some of them are quite spicy. The aliens looked horrified. You add chemical compounds to your food? Yithran asked weakly. He had just woken up from fainting. Or for flavor, Taewon said. Some spices are so strong they can make your mouth burn, but they taste great. You consume substances that cause burning sensations? The liquid metal being asked. Some people like spicy food, Taewon replied. He was still smiling, completely unaware of the effect his words were having. While I am here, Taewon continued, opening his bag, I should give you the technical reports you requested about our ship. He pulled out several tablets and data storage devices. These contain the specifications for our nuclear reactor, our explosive decompression protocols, our emergency ejection systems, and our life support redundancies. The word nuclear caused panic. Half of the remaining aliens left the viewing areas immediately. Emergency lights started flashing throughout the station. Nuclear? Zilquar's voice was barely a whisper. Our power source, Taewon explained. Still cheerful, it is a small fusion reactor. Very efficient and clean. We also have backup chemical rockets in case of emergency, plus explosive bolts for emergency separation of ship sections. Explosive bolts? Several voices asked in terror. Safety. Equipment, Taewon said. If part of the ship is damaged, we can blow it off to save the rest of the crew. Sora grabbed Taewon's arm. Maybe we should explain this later, she said urgently, but the damage was done. The aliens now believed that humans not only performed thermal torture on their food and consumed chemical weapons for pleasure, but they also traveled in ships powered by nuclear bombs and equipped with explosive devices. I think, Zokwar said slowly, we need to call an emergency session of the full council. As alarms continued to sound throughout the station, Deho realized that their attempt to prove humans were peaceful had completely failed. Instead, They had convinced the galactic community that humans were the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. This is not going well, Sora whispered. Not well at all, Deho agreed, watching as the last few aliens evacuated the viewing areas in panic. The emergency session lasted 6 hours. Deho and Sora were not allowed to attend. Instead, they waited in their quarters while the council debated what to do about the human threat. Through the walls, they could hear the sounds of heated discussion in many different alien languages. When they were finally called back to the council chamber, the atmosphere had changed completely. The room was now surrounded by energy shields. Guard robots floated near the ceiling. Many council members were no longer physically present but were attending through holographic projections from safe locations. Captain Kim, Commander Park, Zilquar said. His crystal body was now a dark blue color that Deho had not seen before. The council has reached a decision about your people. We are listening, Deho said carefully. However, Zilquar continued, first we must better understand the true extent of your capabilities. We require a demonstration. Sora looked suspicious. What kind of demonstration? A physical capability assessment, announced a new voice. This came from a crab-like being that had not been in the previous meetings. I am Security Chief Morden. We need to see what your bodies can actually do. You want us to show you how strong we are? Deho asked. We need to understand the threat level, Morden replied. The crab being's many eyes all focused on the humans. The reports we have received suggest that your species possesses combat capabilities far beyond any civilized race. We are not warriors, Sora said firmly. That remains to be seen, Morden replied. Please follow me to the assessment chamber. The assessment chamber was even more heavily protected than the demonstration room had been. The walls were covered with sensors and monitoring equipment. Guard robots were positioned at every entrance. A medical team of alien doctors waited behind protective barriers. In the center of the room was exercise equipment. Human exercise equipment. Someone had gone to great effort to create a testing area designed for human physiology. We want you to demonstrate normal physical activities for your species, Morden explained. Nothing aggressive. Just show us what a typical human body can do. Sora looked at the equipment. There were weights, a running track, and various machines designed for stretching and movement. This looks like a gym. A what? Morden asked. A place where humans exercise to stay healthy, Deho explained. You have dedicated facilities for physical stress training? Morden's eyes widened in alarm. For fitness, Sora corrected. We exercise to stay strong and healthy. She walked over to a set of weights. They were clearly marked with numbers, starting from what seemed very light to the aliens. Sora picked up a weight that was marked as 20 pounds. The reaction from the watching aliens was immediate. Several of them made sounds of shock. The weights Sora had picked up were apparently much heavier than they looked. How are you lifting? That? Asked one of the alien doctors. This one looked like a large, soft creature with tentacles. That mass should require mechanical assistance. It is not very heavy, Sora said. She began doing simple arm exercises with the weights. Not heavy? Morden repeated. That object weighs more than most adult members of civilized species. Sora stopped exercising and looked at the weight in her hand. This weighs 20 pounds. That is about 9 kilograms. A typical human can easily lift much more than this. How much more? The tentacle doctor asked. A healthy human adult can usually lift their own body weight, Deho said. Some humans can lift much more than that. You can lift objects that weigh as much as your entire body? Morden asked in disbelief. Yes, Sora said, that is normal for us. She moved to a heavier weight, one marked 50 pounds. When she lifted it easily, 3 aliens left the viewing area. This is impossible, the tentacle doctor said. No biological life form should be able to generate that much force without mechanical enhancement. We will try running now, Deho said, moving toward the track. Running? Morden asked. Moving quickly on our legs, Daeho explained. He began jogging slowly around the track. The aliens watched in fascination and horror as Daeho ran. To them, his speed seemed incredible. What felt like a gentle jog to him looked like a terrifying display of power to beings who had never evolved to move quickly. "He is moving faster than our emergency response vehicles," one alien whispered. "And he is not even trying hard," another replied. Sora joined Daeho on the track. She ran alongside him, and they began talking as they jogged. "They seem really scared of us," Sora said quietly. "I think we are scarier than we realized," Daeho replied. To the aliens watching. The fact that the humans could run quickly and talk at the same time was even more frightening. Most of the species in the galaxy could barely move and think at the same time, let alone carry on a conversation while performing physical activities. "They are coordinating while in motion," Morden observed. "This suggests pack hunting behavior." "We are just talking," Daeho called out, overhearing the comment. "Tactical communication during high-speed movement," the security chief corrected. After running for several minutes, both humans stopped. They were breathing a little harder, but they were not tired. "Is that sufficient?" Sora asked. "You can continue this activity?" the tentacle doctor asked. "For much longer if needed," Daeho replied. "Humans are built for endurance." "Endurance?" Morden repeated. "We can keep moving for a long time," Sora explained. "Some humans can run for hours without stopping." The silence that followed this statement was deafening. The aliens looked at each other with what Daeho was beginning to recognize as pure terror. "Hours?" the tentacle doctor whispered. Just then, the door to the assessment chamber opened. Another human entered, carrying a medical bag. "Sorry to interrupt," the newcomer said. "I am Dr. Mi Young Song, the medical officer from their ship. I came to check on them and make sure they are not being hurt by these tests." Dr. Song looked around the room, taking in the barriers, the guards, and the frightened aliens. "Is everything all right here?" she asked. "We are fine," Sora said. We're just showing them some basic human physical abilities." "Good," Dr. Song said. She pulled out a small scanner and pointed it at both of them. "Your heart rates are slightly elevated, but that is normal after exercise. Your body temperatures are within normal range. No signs of stress or injury." "Body temperatures?" Morden asked. "Humans maintain a constant internal temperature," Dr. Song explained. "Our bodies automatically regulate heat, even during physical activity." "Automatic temperature control?" the tentacle doctor asked. Double quotes, "Yes, it is how we stay healthy," Dr. Song replied. "Our bodies also automatically fight off diseases. The human immune system battles millions of hostile microorganisms every day." The word millions caused several more aliens to leave the viewing area. "Millions?" Morden repeated weakly. "Every human body is constantly at war with germs and bacteria," Dr. Song said cheerfully. "Our immune systems are very strong." "They have to be coming from Earth?" "You are living battlefields," the tentacle doctor said in horror. "We are healthy," Dr. Song corrected. "Our bodies are very good at staying healthy." She looked around the room again. "Why does everyone look so frightened?" "Humans are not dangerous." Morden's many eyes all focused on her. "Your species can lift enormous weights, move at high speeds for extended periods, regulate your own body temperature, and fight off millions of hostile life forms simultaneously." "Yes," Dr. Song said, looking confused. "That is normal." "That," Morden said quietly, "is exactly what makes you the most dangerous species the galaxy has ever encountered." As alarms began sounding throughout the station once again, Daeho realized that their demonstration had only made things worse. Every attempt to show that humans were normal and peaceful had instead convinced the aliens that humans were unstoppable living weapons. "I think," Sora said quietly, "we might be in serious trouble." The council meeting that followed was different from all the others. This time, the humans were not invited. Instead, they were escorted to comfortable quarters and told to wait while the council made their final decision. Through the walls, They could hear the sounds of urgent discussions in dozens of alien languages. In their quarters, the human crew gathered together. Engineer Taewon Choi sat at a table, shaking his head in confusion. Dr. Mi Young Song was checking everyone's health with her scanners. Pilot Jinwoo Nam, who had just arrived from their ship, was trying to understand what had happened. "So they think we are dangerous because we can cook food and lift weights?" Jinwoo asked. "It is more than that," Sora explained. "Everything that is normal for humans seems impossible and frightening to them. But we are not trying to hurt anyone," Jinwoo said. "We came here to make friends." "I think that is the problem," Daeho said slowly. "We are so different from them that they cannot understand us. To them, we look like monsters." Communications Officer Yoonji Yoon was sitting by the window, listening to the alien transmissions with her translation equipment. "They are really scared," she reported. "I can understand some of what they are saying. They keep using words that mean Deathworld predators and impossible biology." "Deathworld?" Dr. Song asked. "That is what they call Earth," Yoonji explained. "To them, our planet is so dangerous that nothing should be able to live there." "But millions of species live on Earth," Taewon said. "Exactly," Daeho replied. "And that terrifies them." Meanwhile, in the council chambers, the aliens were having the most important discussion in their civilization's history. Ancient records were being brought up from deep storage. Experts in galactic biology were being consulted. For the first time in thousands of years, the peaceful species of the galaxy were talking about something truly frightening. "The data is clear," said Archivist Fendel, an ancient being whose species lived for millions of years and remembered everything. "Humans come from what we classify as a Class 12 death world." The other council members waited for him to explain. Fendel's species were the record keepers of the galaxy. If anyone understood the implications, it would be him. "Class 12 is the highest rating on our danger scale," Fendel continued. "Most civilized species evolved on Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Peaceful planets with gentle weather, abundant food, and no serious threats. What makes Earth a Class 12? Zilquar asked. "Everything," Fendel replied. "Extreme weather patterns that can kill in minutes. Toxic atmosphere that burns most life forms. Gravity so strong it would crush delicate species. Radiation levels that would sterilize civilized worlds." "And predators, Yuthrin asked nervously. "Earth has thousands of species whose only purpose is to hunt and kill other living things," Fendel explained. "The humans evolved, surrounded by creatures designed to eat them. How did they survive?" Teisel asked. "By becoming better predators than anything else on their world," Fendel said. "Humans are persistence hunters. They can track prey for days without stopping. They can run farther than almost any other species on their planet. They work together, in coordinated groups, and they use tools to kill things much larger and stronger than themselves." The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "So when they say they are peaceful," Morden said slowly, "they mean peaceful compared to their world." "Exactly," Fendel replied. "What humans consider normal survival skills would make them the most dangerous predators on any civilized world." "But they seem friendly," Yethron said. "They are trying to communicate with us." "Because they are intelligent," Fendel explained. "Intelligence is what makes them truly terrifying. They have all the physical capabilities of perfect predators, plus the mental ability to use technology and work together." Zilquar's crystal body flickered with worried colors. "What happened to other Deathworld species that joined galactic civilization?" Fendel was quiet for a long moment. "That is the strange part," he finally said. "There have been others. 3 species from Class 10 worlds and 1 from a Class 11 world. They all joined the galactic community peacefully. Where are they now?" Morden asked. "Gone," Fendel replied. "Not dead, just gone. They all left civilized space after a few years." "Why? We never understood," Fendel said. "They said our space was too quiet, too safe, too boring." Back in their quarters, the humans were having their own discussion about the situation. "I have been thinking about this," Dr. Song said. Maybe the problem is not that we are dangerous. Maybe the problem is that they are too peaceful. What do you mean? Deho asked. Think about it, Dr. Song continued. These aliens have lived in perfect peace for thousands of years. No wars, no predators, no diseases, no dangerous weather. Their bodies and minds evolved for complete safety. And we evolved for the opposite, Sora realized. Exactly, Dr. Song sighed. We evolved on a world where everything was trying to kill us. That made us strong, fast, and tough. But it also made us very different from everyone else in the galaxy. So we are not dangerous, Jinwoo said. We are just ... incompatible. Maybe, Yunji said from her position by the window. I am picking up new transmissions. They are talking about something called the Deathworld Protocol. Deathworld Protocol? Taewon asked. It sounds like they have rules for dealing with species like us, Yunji explained. Species that are too different to fit in with civilized space. Before anyone could ask more questions, the door chimed. Guide Velton, the crystal being who had first met them, entered the room. The council has reached a decision, Velton said. They wish to speak with Captain Kim and Commander Park. As Deho and Sora followed the crystal being back to the council chamber, they both wondered what kind of decision the aliens had made. Would they be welcomed into galactic civilization? Would they be asked to leave? Or would they be seen as too dangerous to be allowed to exist at all? Whatever they decided, Sora said quietly, we should remember that we came here in peace. And if that is not enough? Deho asked. Then maybe we were never meant to be here in the first place, Sora replied. The council chamber looked different. When they arrived, many of the aliens were no longer hiding behind barriers. Instead, they looked sad. Some seemed almost sorry. Captain Kim, Commander Park, Zokwar said. His voice was gentler than before. We have learned much about your species and your world. We understand now why you are the way you are. And? Deho asked. And we have realized something important, Zokwar continued. You are not evil or aggressive. You are simply incompatible with our way of life. So Ra felt a strange mix of relief and disappointment. They were not being condemned, but they were also not being welcomed. What does that mean for us? She asked. It means, Zokwar said sadly, that some species are too different to coexist, and perhaps that is not anyone's fault. The final council meeting was unlike any that had come before. The atmosphere was not filled with fear or anger, but with something closer to sadness. The aliens had spent days learning about humans, and the humans had learned just as much about the peaceful species of the galaxy. Zokwar stood at the center of the chamber, his crystal body showing colors that Deho was beginning to understand meant regret and acceptance. We have made our decision, Zokwar announced. But first we want you to understand what we have learned. Archivist Fendel stepped forward. The ancient being moved slowly, carrying what looked like a collection of records and data crystals. Your species is remarkable, Fendel said. In all the history of galactic civilization, we have never encountered beings quite like humans. Is that good or bad? Sora asked. It is simply the truth, Fendel replied. Humans represent something we thought was impossible. You are a species that evolved under the most dangerous conditions imaginable, yet you remain intelligent, curious, and capable of cooperation. Most Deathworld species either become too aggressive to form societies or they never develop technology. Because they are too busy surviving, Zokwar explained. Humans are the rare exception that managed both survival and civilization. But that creates a problem, Morden added. The crab-like security chief no longer seemed frightened, just tired. Your capabilities that allowed you to survive on Earth make you too powerful for our peaceful society. We do not want to be powerful, Deho said. We just want to explore and learn. We understand that now, Yuthron said. The butterfly being was no longer shaking with fear. Your intentions are peaceful, but your very existence changes the balance of our civilization. Dr. Song, who had been allowed to attend this final meeting, raised her hand. Can you explain what you mean? Your presence makes other species feel inadequate and afraid, Tysil said. The plant being's arms moved slowly, a sign of deep thought. Not because you threaten them, but because you represent possibilities they cannot achieve. When other species see what humans can do, Zilquar continued, they begin to question their own limitations. Some become jealous, others become afraid. A few begin to wonder if they need to become more like humans to survive. That sounds like it could be good, Jinwu said. He had been allowed to attend as well, along with the rest of the human crew. Not for a civilization built on peace, Fendel explained. Our society works because everyone is roughly equal. Everyone has the same basic needs and abilities. When one species is dramatically different, it creates instability. We have seen this before, Zilquar said. Other Deathworld species have joined us over the millennia. Each time, their presence eventually caused problems. What kind of problems? Yunji asked. Wars, Morden said simply. Other species either tried to copy the Deathworlders or tried to destroy them. Either way, peace was lost. But those species left, Sora pointed out. The problems ended when they went away. Yes, Zilquar said. They chose to leave rather than destroy our peace. And we believe you will make the same choice. The humans looked at each other. None of them had expected this conversation to go in this direction. You are not banishing us? Deho asked. We cannot banish you, Fendel said. You have done. Nothing wrong. You are simply being true to your nature. But we cannot integrate you into our society either, Zilquar continued. The differences are too great. So what happens now? Dr. Song asked. Now you choose, Zilquar said. You can. Stay in galactic space, but you will always be outsiders. You will always be seen as dangerous, even when you are being peaceful. Other species will fear you, and that fear will eventually cause conflict. Or, Sora asked. Or you can do what the other Deathworld species did, Fendel said. You can. Leave civilized space and find your own path among the stars. Leave? Jinwu asked. Where would we go? Wherever you want, Zilquar replied. The galaxy is vast. There are unexplored regions, uncharted systems, unknown worlds. Places where your unique abilities would be useful rather than frightening. Places where we would not have to hide what we are, Taewon said thoughtfully. Exactly, Yethron said. You are explorers by nature. You come from a world that taught you to face any challenge. Perhaps the peaceful regions of known space are simply too tame for your species. Deho looked around at his crew. He could see them thinking about the offer. As much as they had wanted to join galactic civilization, the past few days had shown them how difficult it would be. If we leave, Sora said, what happens to relations between our species? We will maintain limited contact, Zilquar promised. Trade agreements for essential resources, communication protocols for emergencies, but no large-scale integration. We will also share our star charts of the unexplored regions, Fendel added. Consider it a gift and an apology. An apology? Dr. Song asked. For not being able to accept you as you are? Tysil said sadly. You are remarkable beings, but you are too remarkable for our simple society. The humans spent an hour discussing the offer among themselves. They talked about the pros and cons of staying versus leaving. They considered what it would mean to give up on joining galactic civilization. Finally, they returned to the council chamber with their decision. We will leave, Deho announced. Not because we are angry or disappointed, but because we understand. You understand? Zilquar asked. You are right, Sora said. We are explorers. We came from a world that forced us to always face new challenges. Maybe a peaceful, safe civilization is not where we belong. We want to see what is out there beyond the known regions, Jinwu added. Places where no one has been before. Places where being tough and adaptable is useful instead of scary, Dr. Song said with a smile. We thank you for your honesty, Deho continued. You could have lied to us or tried to force us to change. Instead, you helped us understand who we are and where we belong. And where do you belong? Yithron asked. Out there, Sora said, pointing toward the unknown regions of space. In the places that are too dangerous or difficult for peaceful species to explore. The places that need Deathworlders, Taiwan said with a grin. The farewell ceremony was surprisingly warm. The aliens who had been terrified of the humans a few days earlier now seemed almost fond of them. They provided the promised star charts along with supplies and equipment for long-range exploration. Before you go, Zilquar said, we want you to know that you have taught us something important. What is that? Deho asked. That there is more than one way to live in the universe, Zilquar replied. We have been so focused on peace and safety that we forgot about courage and growth. Maybe someday our species will meet again, Yithron said. When you have found your place among the stars and when we have learned to be less afraid of differences. Maybe, Sora agreed. But until then, we will remember that you treated us with kindness, even when you were scared. As the human shuttle prepared to leave Nexus Prime, the crew looked back at the beautiful station one last time. Are you sad to leave? Jinwoo asked a little, Deho admitted, but also excited. Excited? Dr. Song asked. Think about it, Sora said. We are about to explore regions of space that no one has ever seen. We are going to face challenges that would terrify most species in the galaxy. And we are probably going to love every minute of it, Taiwan added with a laugh. Because we are humans, Yunji said proudly. And humans were born to explore impossible places. As their shuttle moved away from the station and toward the unknown regions of space, the crew of Terra's voice looked forward instead of back. Behind them was a civilization that could not accept them. Ahead of them was an entire universe of possibilities. So, Jinwoo said as he set course for their first unexplored system, where should we go first? Somewhere dangerous, Sora said immediately. Somewhere impossible, Dr. Song added. Somewhere that would scare the council, Taiwan suggested. Perfect, Deho said with a smile. Sounds like home. And as the human ship disappeared into the vast unknown, the Galactic Council passed their first Death World Protocol, official. Procedures for dealing with species too wild for civilization. It would not be needed often, but when it was, they would remember the humans who taught them that some beings are simply too big for small. Safe spaces. In the end, perhaps that was exactly as it should be.